All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, all my brothers, sisters around the world. I pray all is well as we give the Lord all the honor, the glory, and all the praise. I'm going to dive right into this video. My title now says Growing in Loneliness. Growing in Loneliness. I know that title seems a bit weird, but I want to talk to the single people in ministry right now. I've been having a lot of emails, a lot of dynamic questions. Most of them come from a lot of single women. Let me say this off top. Hats off to all our beautiful queens out here, no matter what color you are. We love you. And also hats off to the kings out here. A lot of us have forgotten who we are. We have forgotten that we are kings. And y'all women, a lot of y'all have forgotten that the beauty and how precious you are. And I love to remind women and let you know that you are still a queen. And our fellas, our men, you are still a king. We need to start acting like that. So I want to say that off top. This is one of these topics a lot of people don't really like to deal with. And I myself, being single in ministry, I'll be the first to say off top that it is hard. It gets the best of you at times. But let me say this off top because I want to deal with loneliness and spiritual loneliness. See, there are a lot of people who are not with somebody, married to somebody, or in a relationship with somebody. It's a lot of people that's lonely without a person, but then it's a lot of people that's married and still lonely in their own home. And then there are a lot of people that's just straight up spiritual loneliness. Spiritual loneliness. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that or even going through that. I know exactly how it is to be on all ends, y'all. And what I'm dealing with right now in my life, as I like to say, y'all know I have no problem talking about myself, is that there are times when you sometimes do like you feel like the Lord is not there. But the Lord is always there. But we know that the flesh, it don't matter how we kill it. A lot of times this flesh rises up. We feel things, we say things, we do things. We get mad sometimes. We get a little bit down, and now we might give out, but we don't give up. Y'all know what I'm saying? But being alone in ministry, it get the best of you. But it's got its ups and it's got its downs. And the thing is, when you trying to do the right thing, as Apostle Paul say, every time I try to do good, evil, was always present. And it don't matter how hard you do the right things, how much you pray, how much you go to church, preach, teach, get involved in everything. When you are single, there go them times that come when it just hits you very hard. And you look around at everybody else, they seem like they doing better than you are. Notice I said seem like. Some are, but some seem like. They put on a front, a lot of people. They put on a little fake moment just so people can say, oh, they happy together. That's why I say you got people that's married and still lonely. Let me leave that alone. But let me say this off top also. Being alone and being lonely, that's two different things, y'all. Especially when you look at the biblical meaning of alone. A lot of people think you crazy when you alone. They want to call you all kind of, something must be wrong. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with her? Oh man, there's got to be something crazy about them. And they look at you like you desperate, like you just got to have somebody, because you are at that point in your life where God got you by yourself so you can see your real self and examine yourself. Because it's hard to check self when you are focusing on somebody else all the time and living wrong. You see some people that's really desperate out here, y'all, and who will settle for anything. I just need somebody. I can't be by myself. I got to have somebody there. Well, stop crying at what you get when you get that somebody there. But I want to talk about how we grow in this. Because loneliness, it is a state of mind, y'all. It's a state of the mind. We can say it's an emotion brought on by these feelings of separation from other human beings. As for myself being a man, I can say I'm not all the way complete because I don't have my helpmeet. Even the Bible tells you plain as day, God said it's not good for man to be alone. God said that woman was made for man, but then he said it's not good for man to be alone. So I'm preaching to myself. It don't feel so good. But when you are alone, you can really grow spiritually and focus on the Lord. You can really start living right. See, a lot of people, when they take on a woman, fellas, or women, when you take on a man, a lot of times you see people, they take on a man or a woman, get in a relationship, and they get further and further away from the Lord. And they get deeper and deeper in their sins. That's why you got so many Christians who love to shack up, love to whore around. I'm just being real, y'all. Love to live a life of sin, but yet it's still claiming to be delivered. You can't please God in sin. And some folks, so instead of being lonely, they're going to do everything they can to try to find themselves happy or trying to do this and do this so they won't feel so lonely. But I don't know about y'all, but being alone is where it got me where I'm at right now, and focus on the Lord. See, too many people want to be in a relationship or get married and have not grown spiritually. It's too many women, I love to say this, women, and I mean this out of love, but it's not all of y'all, but it's too many of y'all too busy talking about I need to get me a good man, but yet and still you haven't gotten a relationship with the Father yet. Stop trying to get a man and make a man your first priority when you haven't gotten God as the head in your life. And fellas, we need to stop going out and trying to get a woman when we ain't lining our life up with God first. So if it takes us being alone, and I don't know how long we supposed, that's on God's time, but being alone is not so bad all the time, but it has its days, y'all. I tell you this, I tell anybody, I'd rather be alone and have God than to be miserable with somebody without God. Y'all catch what I'm saying? Because pretty much everybody I know, except for a few people that I know, are really in a relationship or a marriage that got God in it. The rest, they just doing whatever. And if you don't have your life lined up with God, if you're not happy, what's the use of getting in a relationship trying to make somebody else happy when you are not happy, y'all? So many of us, we can't never grow spiritually because we taking all our time trying to please that man or that woman instead of pleasing God. The Hebrew word translated desolate or lonely, especially in the Old Testament, it means one alone, only, one, we could say, who is solitary, forsaken, wretched. When you are lonely and you sitting up at night fighting, wishing you had somebody beside you, wishing that you could be having sex. I'm just going to, let me keep it all the way real in this video. How many Christians looking at this video that's single can honestly say, I'm sitting up trying not to masturbate, I'm trying not to look at porn, but I find myself slipping up, I'm trying not to get in the car with my homeboys, I'm killing my flesh every day, but it seems like it's just getting harder and harder for me. I could throw up both of my hands. The fight that I have every night, trying to deny myself. See, here's the thing. Let me teach for a minute. We are slaves to Christ. Some of us don't like this word slave. And when you are a slave, y'all, you can't be doing your own will. Let me teach this. When you are a slave, you got to do what your master say. So in this case, in the good way, the Most High, that's my master. So my will got to be cut out. I don't have no will. It's his will. It make me think about a job all the time. And when you the boss man, you got employees. Well, you work for your boss. You work for that company. So the thing is, when you are an employee, you got such amount of hours, some we could say 40 hours a week. You got so many hours a day you spend. And then you clock out and go home. Well, the thing is, with God, it ain't no clocking out with me. I can't just punch the clock a few hours and then give up on serving the Lord. No, that's my master, so I am a slave. So every day I got to kill my flesh. So being alone right now, what I'm dealing with is something that's very hard to deal with, but ain't nothing too hard for God. Because I remember when I was in my last relationship, I thought I had it going on and I was miserable. I was messed up spiritually. I wasn't right, didn't care nothing about God. I was doing my own will that I thought I had going on. So my prayer was, my Heavenly Father, deliver me from this way I'm living. And if it take me being alone, Lord, for me to get right, move this woman away from me. Give me the strength to leave her alone because we ain't right in your eyes. We ain't right. We shacking up, we sinning, we living together, we doing this, we doing that. We ain't right. So, Lord, hide me from the enemy, even if the enemy is me. Being alone made me strong. Let me say that right. God makes me strong, and being alone makes me strong with the help of the Most High. It was awesome. There is no deeper sadness that ever comes over the mind than the idea that we are alone in this cold world. We don't have a friend. No one cares for us. No one is concerned about what might happen to us. This is the way King David felt, y'all. Don't nobody care if you die. You have had people kill themselves because they was tired of being alone. Somebody left them. But being alone with the Most High is the best thing that has ever happened in my life. And now that He has straightened me up and got me to see straight now, He got me alone to prepare me for my wife that's coming. He got you alone to prepare you for your husband or your wife that's coming. But you got to be obedient and do His will. You got to live it, y'all. See, I have these questions asked to me all the time, and I love talking to people. I'm going to be real with y'all. I talk to more people that's married than ones that's single. I have more married people coming up to me talking about their marriage. I don't know why. And I said, I should be looking to y'all for answers. But it's amazing how many people that's married and don't have God in their marriage. And all I do is hand them the book, the Bible. See, it's just like what I do, being a producer, a minister of music. This road get very lonely because we do all this singing and teaching and playing and fellowshipping and going there. You get people, they applaud, they clap for you when you get through speaking. And as soon as you get through speaking and fellowshipping with folks, you get in that car and go right back to that lonely house. Thoughts start rumbling in your mind. Your flesh is weak. You see everybody else doing what they doing. And sometimes you wonder, Lord, when is it coming? Lord, how long will I have to wait? Lord, where's my husband? Lord, where's my wife? Where's my helpmeet? A lot of us think because we with somebody, we got it going on. Man, I was so far away from the Lord, y'all, when I was living in sin. I was far away. Y'all heard me? I was far away from the Lord. Couldn't see nothing. But the Lord been working on me and going to continue to work on me until I die. But when the Lord started straightening me up and showed me that any man made in Christ is a new creature, He said, them old things, they gone. You can't do that, JT. As long as I was with somebody and the way I was at the time, I couldn't see straight. I am full of joy. Notice I didn't say happiness. I'm full of joy. I love the Lord, but yet and still, I'm still incomplete. A lot of us will say, well, brother, long as you got God, brother, you all right, you complete. You don't need nobody else. God still said it wasn't good for a man to be alone. I tell ladies all the time, I don't need no man. And I tell the men all the time when they say, I don't need no wife. Well, God wouldn't have put that in his word if it was not true. So I can't play this hard macho role and sit like, y'all can't sit up here and say, oh, I'm good, man. I don't need nobody. I'm all good with the Lord, man. The Lord know I need my help me. The Lord know what I fight with at night. The Lord know what I fight with sometime during the day when I'm surrounded by so many beautiful women at work, at church. It don't matter where I'm at. And somebody always trying to hook you up. And the ones that always try to hook you up, they need to be hooked up themselves. When we're alone, we take that time to let God work on us, y'all. Get yourself prepared. That way, you would know how to handle your wife or your husband when God send you that blessing. The problem is, some of us pray for patience, and we got the nerve to don't even want to wait. We got the nerve to pray for patience, but don't want to wait. We prayed last week, and we expecting our help meet to show up this week. Problem is, God, not the problem, because that ain't the problem with, excuse me, Lord. The problem with us is we don't want to wait on God. We microwave Christians. That's what I like to say. We want everything right now. Give it to me fast, Lord. Come on. You're taking too long. I already done prayed that prayer. And then we continue to start doing what? Pray the same prayer over and over. Lord, I'm ready. Stop praying to God to something that you ain't even ready for. This is how I had to check myself, y'all. Waiting on the Lord. I can't put a time limit on God. So that was my prayer. I hope this helped you, my sisters and brothers, because my prayer was, get me to where I need to go, Lord. He said, but I can't get you there, JT, until you release the one you with that I didn't even tell you that was your wife. Oh, that remind me of something my beautiful sister Lady D say. Big shout out to you, big sis, when she said, JT, some people come in your life as a lesson, and some people come to your life as a blessing. And I learned my lesson. And if I didn't go through those lessons, I wouldn't have got the blessings. Even though I'm by myself, it's still a blessing. But now I know how to handle, how to deal with. I got this word right here, my instructions. I was trying to live this life without instructions at first. Let God work on you. Let God work on you. Don't be mad when God is working on you and keeping you in that situation as long as he needs to keep you in it. When you pray, don't be mad at the way God do it. Let him do his will. We always want to say, let your will be done, but then we get mad at the way God doing it. And even if you don't get married on this earth, then still don't worry about it. Worrying we shouldn't have in our system, no way. Worrying is a lack of faith. And the reason why I'm saying this, because there's not going to be no marriage in heaven. Marriage is for earth. The Bible teaches you ain't no marriage in heaven. But I look at all my brothers and sisters that I know that's married and miserable. Some are happy. Some right now trying to figure out how they going to get out that marriage. But then you look at this spiritual loneliness. Look at King David, how he felt at times. King David knew about loneliness. There was times where he felt separated from God. Where you at, God? He was mad at times when the wicked was prospering. That's how we do, God, sometimes when we pray and we don't hear from God right away. We feel like we back lonely. Bad enough you're lonely in the world, and then you feel like the Lord ain't listening to you. David cried out in loneliness and despair. There's so much to say on this, y'all. Because some of us feel that loneliness from our own family. And it hurts like hell, don't it? David had his own son trying to kill him. When family turns on you, see, this loneliness can go a long way with what we're talking about, because it's not just with a relationship. I ain't got nobody, I'm lonely. Man or a woman. You got people who missing their children right now. They missing their church family right now. They lonely with it that way. They missing so many people in their life. They missing their loved ones that have passed on. But we got to be like David. We got to turn to God. David knew that God was his only hope. And that having patience is what we got to have, y'all. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit. We got to have it. So I hope I've said something, y'all. When we look at this loneliness, it's not always a bad thing. Let God work on you. Let God. And I'm talking to some of my people that's married who are lonely. You trying to have a covenant without the Creator. I'm talking to the ones that ain't got God in their marriage. You trying to have a covenant without the Creator. You ain't gonna never feel full. You ain't gonna never be complete. If God didn't put you with that person and you hooked yourself up and you crying and complaining because that's the outcome of somebody you with that God didn't put you with, you might as well accept what's going on and deal with it the best way you know how, and it's gonna be up to God to show you what to do. See, when you are not connected to the Lord, you are in deep loneliness. See, you can have money, you can have a wife, a husband, a nice job, a nice house, clothes, material things, but if you ain't connected, you still in spiritual loneliness. And that can't be filled by people. Only that can be filled by the Lord. You can get you can get together. You can have little classes, meet over somebody's house. You can talk all day, all night, cry out. But if you ain't talking to God, them folks you hanging around, they can't do nothing for you but pray for you. Only God can fill that gap. And I mean this out of love, y'all. I see people all the time Facebooking their problems. Facebook done became a soap opera. It done became a website where so many people just depressed or want to fight somebody, or all the crazy videos of somebody being murdered, head chopped off. Facebook done really took a turn for the worse. And I see more people on Facebook lonely, posting things like, I wish I had somebody. I'm tired of being alone. I'm not going to make it if I don't get a man in 2 or 3 more weeks. I might just kill myself. I need a woman. I need this. I need that. I'm lonely. I'm tired of looking at everybody else with they husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends. Facebooking their problems. Tweeting their problems every 5 minutes. And at the end of the day, they still in the same place. Only God can fill that gap. Even Jesus felt alone when he prayed to the Father 3 times in the Garden of Gethsemane when he didn't want to get on that cross. Yes, I said when he didn't want to get on that cross. When he said, Father, take this cup away from me. He prayed 3 times and he felt disconnected from the Father. That was the first time he ever felt a big separation like that, because God's will had to be done. But Jesus said, Father, let your will be done. God had the perfect plan. Too many folk are scared to be alone. Too many folks are scared to be rejected. Only thing I'm scared of being rejected by is the Lord, and I'm not trying to have that happen to me. Any other rejection, you can reject me from a job. I tell a woman all the time, baby, you can tell me yes or you can tell me no. I ain't scared of now answer. Whether you tell me yes or no, hey, you can reject me all day long. But long as the Most High don't reject me and turn me over to a reprobated mind, I ain't worried about no other rejection. I got stronger when I was alone. I got more weaker when I was with somebody. How will we ever grow if we are with somebody who either lower than you or doing the same thing you're doing? You know what God taught me? Self deals with me. Paul said, I can do all things through Christ that strengthen me, so that I need to do some things for myself. So God taught me self-esteem. How to be self-confident, not arrogant. How to have self-discipline. And then he made sure that he taught me self-respect. So many things I can go on and on that the Lord taught me when I was alone that I didn't have at first, because when I was a child, I done as a child. I spake as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So now that I'm a grown man, I know better, I do better. How was I going to lead somebody else? And I was jacked up. And then I had to do some self-examination. Let me say this again. Self-esteem, self-confidence, self-discipline, self-respect, self-examination. When you realize your biggest problem is yourself and you recognize that, that's when you're ready to move forward. But until then, if you can't look in that mirror and check yourself, ain't no need in trying to move on, y'all. When you learn the difference and look at sin, we could say, you see one of the hardest things to fight off is a sexual sin. Being alone has a lot of dark moments where you fight with this. Me and my big brother K-Ray talks about this all the time. We draw strength from one another. My brother K-Ray is married. I'm not. K-Ray teaches me from a marital standpoint, and I always elaborate on a single standpoint. But we can come together and still agree on things. And I told K-Ray, it's people that's married that's still lonely. It's men that ain't even going home at night to their own wife. It's some women, wives ain't even going home to their own husband. So when it comes to this loneliness, that could be anybody in any situation. It's all about us trying to do what God, it's what God is trying to get us to do, y'all. I did a sermon called When God Tells Us No, Yes, or Not Yet. We got a problem when God say no, and we got a problem when God say not yet. But when God say yes, are we just so in love with God? But when God say she ain't the one for you, that ain't the church you supposed to be at. That ain't the pastor you supposed to be sitting up under. You got to let them kin folks over there go. You got to move this way. We say, wow, Lord. You sure, Lord? I don't know about that, Lord. But we crying out in the we always talking about ain't nothing too hard for God. Y'all growing in loneliness. If you lonely right now in loneliness, are you growing or are you looking at it as a bad thing? Y'all notice I'm full of joy. If I was like some of the folks I'm talking about, y'all, I would never do a video. I'd be depressed. I'd be in the hospital. I'd be overeating. I'd be doing a whole lot of stuff. See how good I keep myself try to keep looking? That's God. I ain't bragging or nothing, but you know what I'm saying? When you feel good, you show it. Y'all, I'm just happy and full of joy. That's why I say happiness depends on what you got. Oh, I got some money in the bank. I'm happy now. I got this, I got that. I'm happy. When them things go away, where your joy at? Let me go ahead and close this thing. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed Sunday night. Next time, if the Lord say the same. See you when I see you. Signing off. Peace.